Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let's start the session. First, I would like to welcome all of you who come here. So I would like to welcome Budi, Handoko from Shipper, Adrian from Investree, and Huan from GudangAda. Thank you all for coming here. My name is Frans, and I'm from Asia Commerce. Our company works in the cross-border logistics industry, and today we are going to talk a lot about the B2B supply chain, and mostly about how this session can help the business owners and merchants out there. So, let's start with something very simple. We'll just go in a row from Huan, Adrian, and Budi. Can you please all introduce yourself first and what you do, and specifically what problem do you solve for the merchants or business owners out there? Please go ahead.
Sure. So I will get started. So
Yes.
My name is Huan. I'm the CTO of GudangAda. So for those who do not know us, so GudangAda is a B2B e-commerce platform in Indonesia. So we offer a marketplace. So by using this marketplace, merchants and supply chain stakeholders, they can use this marketplace to trade, which is buy and sell goods from them. And then we also provide a delivery service. So to deliver the goods, we provide the payment and escort service to facilitate the transaction on our marketplace. And we build a solution for stakeholders like a warehouse for them to run the business more efficiently. So right now, GudangAda is operating in more than 500 cities in Indonesia. And we already collected more than 500,000 merchants in Indonesia. Yeah, that's about GudangAda.
All right. So Adrian, please go ahead.
Thanks, Frans. Hi, my name is Adrian Gunadi. I am co-founder and CEO of Investree. We are a SME lending marketplace. We've been around in Indonesia since 2016. So we've been a pioneer and obviously the leading SME lending marketplace in Indonesia. Our focus is in the supply chain financing segment, of which we've been doing a lot of invoice financing since we started. But obviously, with the growth and trend and opportunity of supply chain financing, we've actually expanded also to inventory financing, reseller financing. So we've actually been focused on this digitizing the supply chain financing. And obviously, as a marketplace, we connect with the lenders who right now have grown in the institutional lender space. So actually banks, domestic as well as foreign financial providers are providing capital to the SMEs that are connected to the various digital ecosystems to provide financing and access to short-term working capital. Investree itself, we have been growing our partnership. So we have been working with various digital ecosystem partners in the areas of logistic, agri-tech. And so we are, I would say, evolving from a traditional standalone SME lending marketplace more to a embedded fintech play, specifically for SME financing. And outside of Indonesia, we're also operating in the Philippines and as well as Thailand with a similar product proposition as well.
That's awesome. All right. So please go ahead, Budi.
Hey, my name is Budi Handoko. I am the co-founder and CEO of Shipper. Shipper is a logistic platform facilitating e-commerce industry in Indonesia. We started in 2017 with a very simple service, which is first mile delivery for e-commerce, for retail e-commerce. And we have evolved into warehousing for e-commerce retail, as well as for B2B businesses. Now we have presence in about 35 cities with over 250 warehouses across Indonesia. And yeah, we're happy to work with any of the B2B or B2C retailers that needs logistics service. That's our aim to serve them.
All right. So thank you all. So, I'm just going to start with a very big thing, right? Because, during the COVID-19, like the whole demand of economy is going down. So it's actually very important for us to do collaboration now. And because, everyone is slowing down, so can you please share some strategies that can help merchants or business owners as according to your expertise as a company, because all of you are tackling different sectors, and I really think it's benefits for merchants and business owners to get to know the strategies from different perspectives as well. So let's start from Huan Yang and Adrian and Budi in that role. Please go ahead, Huan Yang.
Sure. Hey, Frans, yes. So I agree with you. So COVID has been a big event, right? This has been changing our life in a very hard way. So, however, so keep in mind, so it changed our life. It affects our customers' life even harder. So think about GudangAda. So most of our customers are traditional supply chain stakeholders. They heavily rely on offline. So their business is affected more than us. So that's the reason one key strategy GudangAda is playing is trying to empower our customer. So basically we empower them to find their own vendors, find their own customers easier. We empower them to grow their business. We empower them to make sure their business becomes more efficiently. Yeah, so basically empowering customer has been deeply baked into the strategy of the whole company. You can think about GudangAda's business model. By design, our business model is to empower our customer. So we are operating in a neutral third-party model. So we just build the marketplace. And every stakeholders, including the big principals, manufacturers, distributors, big wholesalers, small wholesalers, retailers, they can all join this platform. They can all sell something, controlling their own price. They can all buy something from whatever seller. So we do not we are not performing as other B2B, which means, hey, I buy something from manufacturers with a smaller, cheaper price, and then I resell to others with a higher price, right? So they are trying to they are replacing part of the value chain. They are acting as a wholesalers. They are acting as a distributor. So no, so GudangAda don't do that. So GudangAda is purely operating based on a neutral third-party model. And then we believe this model will be heavily benefit our customers. We'll empower them to do great business. And when we grow their business, of course, we can grow. This is one example. Yeah, and you can see, so another example, so basically this principle empowering customer has been deeply rooted in whatever product design at GudangAda. So for example, for transportation, we have a GudangAda logistics. So you buy something, we can deliver the goods for you. We charge you a very, very small delivery fee. However, so when we build this product, we still provide for the flexibility for sellers or buyer to pick up by themselves. So for example, buyer can pick up or seller can deliver. Only if they don't have this option, they can use us as a backup option. So you can see, so basically empowering our customer has been deeply baked into our business model, has been deeply rooted into every product design and our implementation. Yeah, so all this is, so the strategy is empower our customer, make sure our customer can benefit more from this business model than ourselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very awesome, Huan Yang. Okay, Adrian, please go ahead.
Okay, so I think let me take a step back. Yeah, I think one of the challenge that Indonesia faces is access to credit to SMEs. And if you look at the total population of SMEs in Indonesia, is about 65 million. But obviously there is a huge gap or unmet credit demand from these SMEs, of which the statistics say there is a credit gap of about $100 billion that is unmet by the traditional finance sector. So when we talk about SME, the next issue is how do we provide access to capital to these SMEs, access to finance to these SMEs. And I think what we are also seeing because of the COVID, yes, the SMEs are impacted because of that lack of mobility, because of people, there is a lower consumptive behavior in people. And so I think where we need to also identify there are winning sectors and there are, I would say, losing sectors because of this COVID impact. And I think what we have been focusing on is where are these SMEs and how do we grow these winning sectors? And with that, I think working with ecosystem is a key factor for us to be able to still provide access to finance for SMEs, because we also need to balance between the risk that has increased because of the COVID impact, but also how can we continue to support. And from our learnings over the past 2 years, we see that the SMEs that are providing goods and services to enterprises, to government, are now more resilient compared to the SMEs that are doing a standalone trading. And so I think, guys like GudangAda and Shipper, I think they play a critical role in how these SMEs can connect to the bigger business, the bigger enterprises. As I said earlier, we see a lot of SMEs that are now connected to the e-procurement that the government is using. I think that is very important because now they have a clear access to markets, right? And we know that the government of Indonesia is spending. So I think these are some of the strategies that we see, and what we are doing is how do we connect to these SME enablers, such as the e-procurement, B2B e-commerce, logistic, and also agri-tech that are connecting these SMEs with the enterprises. And so this is how we are continuing to support the SMEs in the pandemic. And I think you can see industry-wide, the fintech lending to SMEs has increased by more than 30%. So I think this is also an indication how this strategy has continued to grow and support the SMEs despite the pandemic that we see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Budi,
Okay.
please go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, so I think if you want to see how like extra services, or how we can look at the services or sales or like trading for the merchants, we need to look at the channel, right? So I think during the COVID, everybody is aware that online channels have surged, right? I mean, the growth of e-commerce is there and is expected, is predicted. But I think with the COVID, actually surged through the roof, and all the education that has been done previously, everybody is just jumping into that. So that creates a big rush into the e-commerce scene where you can see a surge of online deliveries, and that's where we come in, right? So or online sales. So that kind of deliveries or that kind of sales requires a lot of some process changes from offline to online. And a lot of all these merchants, they don't have the capability, or they don't have they don't have the capability to actually do the fulfillment of the orders for the e-commerce in wide, right? Because offline process is very different than the online process. And basically what Shipper provide here, actually it covers a lot of things, right? What we can, how the merchant could behave well. One is actually by outsourcing the warehousing fulfillment service to us, it reduce the risk of a COVID spread, right? Because then you don't have to have a lot of different staff in the warehouse. Like you as a merchant are also protected. You can focus on your sales. And number two, you're not like, because of that, then you don't need to pay like rentals as a big bulk. You only need to use a smaller, you only pay a portion of the cost for the warehousing services. And number three, I think e-commerce is always, the problem with the e-commerce is always delivery fee. Delivery fee for end users is expensive. I think Huan Yang from GudangAda is probably aware of that. And I think one of the services that we offer that is been adopted by a lot of B2B right now is actually putting the goods in different warehouses across Indonesia. So it's actually bringing them closer to the customer. And when the customer actually purchase, local customer purchase the goods from those areas, then we can just do local delivery instead of going to the going further from the central, right? And setting that up is not easy for the B2B itself to do, because you need to have a lot of resources to do that. And so when we actually do that for the merchants, it actually opens up a new horizon for them to trade, right? And I guess I believe that is the model to go. So you look at from the from the front, the channel, you do online channel, various online channels. You can do through GudangAda, all the other brands, normal marketplaces, and to the logistic, you do distribution network warehouses where you fulfill from different warehouses across Indonesia. So that drive your sales and that drive down your costs as well.
All right, that's very awesome. I'm seeing like a lot of amazing inputs. I think like, GudangAda with the empowering entrepreneurs, Investree with the financing options for the SMEs, and also from the shipper, from the outsourcing warehousing. These are all very, it's a very new revolution for the B2B systems. Can you also share, all of you, what are, being the B2B, right? B2B is a very traditional market. It's not like B2C, right? So sometimes there's a lot of B2B sellers or supply chain who are still using the very traditional model. Can you share what are the top mistakes that these entrepreneurs or merchants or business owners do? And can you share what are the better options that you have now as opposed to the traditional ways? Yes, please go ahead, Huan Yang.
Hey, Frans. So just now we discussed regarding COVID, right? So COVID has changed our people's life, right? So however, so these changes happens every time. Before COVID, after COVID, changes is always there. So one mistake I see, no matter B2B or B2C or whatever, is people or business owners cannot adapt to new changes very fast enough. So that's a common mistake. So think about FMCG, think about B2B. So what are the changes happening? So number one, you can see it's moving from a traditional business to online business. So people go to B2B e-commerce. That's one. Another one is very, very clearly, technology is more and more adopted. And then the technology is like basically improve the efficiency of the whole industry, right? So you can see 2.5 years ago, when our co-founder and so on founder, Park Steven, created GudangAda, he sees these trends very, very clearly. He wants to create GudangAda to help our customers, to help B2B stakeholders to adapt to these changes fast enough and quickly, right? So that's the reason you can see. So actually some successful story we see with our customers. So for people who are working with GudangAda to ride these trends has achieved a huge success. I will give some example. So first of all, so for manufacturers or principals or brand owners, right? So traditionally, they rely on distributors to distribute the goods to big wholesalers. Right. So there's a limitation. They can only apply this to big ones. They can only reach out to big customers. There are a lot of long-tail customers they can't reach. However, so with GudangAda, with a B2B e-commerce platform, our big principals, they can reach out to long-tail customers very, very easily and very, very cost efficiently. Yeah, so that's the reason e-commerce or B2B or GudangAda, we can increase the demand for them. So that's the reason they can unlock new business growth opportunity. That's one. Yeah. Another example you can see for traditional warehouse owners. So for example, I have a warehouse. I may store some goods in my warehouse, right? However, so because of maybe demand change, supply change, or maybe the business dynamic change, so my warehouse is not 100% used, maybe only 50, maybe only 30%, right? So which means the wasted warehouse is a waste of money, right? So what GudangAda doing is GudangAda building a warehouse solution. So you can rent out your free space to others. You can get some revenue, right? So in this case, you can say you can achieve better efficiency, better usage of the warehouse, which is a third of you, and then you can get more revenue, right? So you can see, so without GudangAda, without technology, without B2B e-commerce platform, this can't be done. However, so with GudangAda, this can be done right now. This can increase your business efficiency. This can increase your revenue. So that's the reason. So things are changing. And then our observation is people who ride the trends, see the trends, ride the trends clearly, will benefit. And with this will redefine the competition landscape. So that's a clear learning from us. So basically, business owners need foresee the changes and then basically so trying to adapt to those changes very, very quickly, and probably find a good partner like GudangAda to do it.
That's awesome. All right. Yeah. Okay, Adrian, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to share. I think what we are seeing and what we are seeing how businesses are adapting new ways of doing or selling goods services. I think what we see is the financial services are not keeping up with the trend, right? So if you talk about financing, there's still a lot of friction. I mean, Huang mentioned clearly, and Budi also, that it's very seamless. But it's when it comes to financial services, when the merchants need working capital, then they still need to go to a bank. They need to fulfill a lot of paperwork, documentation, and on average, you go to a bank for working capital for a small business. At best, it will take 1 month, right? So I think that is where we see a lot of development and fintech players such as us providing the solution to make also the financing or access to finance more seamless and automated. I think this is where we work or partner with potentially the likes of GudangAda and also with Shipper to provide an embedded working capital solution also, and a more seamless experience for the merchants. So when they onboard, they can click on a button to apply for financing without going through all the friction paperwork, right? And provide a more seamless financing experience. I think this is what we have been doing over the past several years, embedding ourselves into various multiple ecosystems, because you have access to the SME information or SME behavior, which is important data for your credit scoring. So based on the historical sales that this SME is doing, he's good for a credit limit of 500 million. He's good for a credit limit of 200 million. So you provide a instant financing option within that ecosystem. So this is some of the products that we have launched, similar to like a pay now or pay later product for consumers, but now it's actually for business and SMEs as well, is what we have developed.
Very interesting. You're trying to build a credit scoring system as well. That's awesome.
We already have. We already have the credit scoring for SMEs. We've been building this generic SME credit score for the last 6 years, right? And then so we know that the SME credit information is not available in Indonesia. So I believe this is what we've strengthened.
That's very awesome. Yeah. Budi, please go ahead.
Yeah, your question is what are the mistakes, right? So
yes.
I think from my perspective, I don't think there's a mistake. If there's a mistake, I think the business owners wouldn't be so successful, right? I think a lot of business owners they're successful. They have their own way of doing things, but I just think there's an inefficiency, right? So if you look at traditional merchants, they will look at only money that they have to pay or money that they can save to measure their success, right? So then they wouldn't mind hiring a lot of people, doing all the fulfillment themselves, renting the warehouse themselves, but they do not think of the cost of doing that as actually a real cost to their business. Yeah, because when you hire people, you need to manage the people. When you have managed the inventory that you manage, then you need to manage the inventory stock account, make sure that the stock is actually accurate, make sure there's no discrepancy. In the discrepancy, you're gonna waste time in fixing that, right? As also when you lease a warehouse, you probably lease I don't know, Ruko, a shop house, like three stories shop house, but you only use 1 story. Then there's a waste of space up there, right, for the 2nd and 3rd floor. So all this inefficiency were not considered as part of their cost. So if they were to rethink of their strategy and think of all this as an inefficiency and start comparing whether if they outsource these logistic services and they actually focus on their core, how they can increase the sales, how they can bring more products by, I don't know, doing some financing from Adrian, right? For example, then they could increase their business a lot more, right? They could probably double or triple their businesses rather than saving a portion of the logistic costs that they do, right? So I think there's a lot of rooms in there. Like I encourage business owners to start thinking about that, like whether they have done the most efficient way of fulfilling their orders, or whether they can outsource it to other people and start talking to different people to get more products to sell, right? We're happy to connect you with Adrian too.
All right. I'm really happy, to hear all of the inputs. It seems like the key takeaways is just, as a business owners, just try to get your hold of different options out there, because it seems like everyone is offering a very great option for entrepreneurs to move forward and to get more sales. Okay. So I think we are running very short on time. Just can you give like one wisdom to grow the business? Just very short, and we'll just close the events here. Please, Huan Yang.
Sure. Yeah. So, basically, I would say adapt to changes quickly, and you don't need to do it by yourself. You can just find a right partner to it together. So that's the reason. So for GudangAda, we is a neutral third party. We partner with others. So basically, find the right partner to adopt to changes.
Okay. All right. All right. Adrian, please go ahead.
Okay. I think one word is collaboration. Right. I think that is key in this day and age. Right. As Budi mentioned, focus on your core. I think for entrepreneurs, even for players such as us and the other startups, I think it's about collaboration. I think we can do more by collaborating and focusing on our key strengths and building more synergies so that everyone can grow, and the SMEs can definitely grow faster.
All right, that's awesome point. Yeah. Collaboration. And Budi, please go ahead.
I have two words. I think one is the same with Adrian, collaboration. Second, I think is more on thinking outside the box, right? So there's more than two words, there's four words there. So thinking outside the box. Traditionally, people would think, what can I do to increase my sales, or just think of marketing, right? But they don't think of, hey, maybe by adding more SKU, I can adding more products, I can do that. Or I don't have money to do that. Or maybe I can get a loan to do that, right? Or but I don't have people to fulfill, whether you can get outsourcing. So think outside the box on how you can grow the business instead of just being limited to what you have or what you are right now. And then you can see that you will succeed as a merchant better, I think.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Budi. I'm just going to ask one question here being asked. The question is there any certain reservations that stops traditional B2B to try new innovative solutions? I'll just invite Budi might be, you have experience in here, right? And also Huan Yang as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Huan Yang mentioned about change, and people are resistant to change, right? So I think that's one of the things, at least relax a little bit, open your mind and start thinking about the changes, how you can look after the change. And secondly, also, I think I mentioned earlier on about think outside the box, how you can actually break the barrier. All these are actually limited by our mind. We don't grow. I mean, we don't stop growing. But I think if we can break our mind and start escaping out of that, right?
Okay, yeah. Huan Yang, Adrian, do you want to add something?
Sure. So if I want to add something, so I would say consistently observe what your customer needs, and then do whatever things to fulfill your customer's requirement. So that's what we are doing at GudangAda. You can see we're trying to empower our business, right? And then we do market immersion very often to understand our customers. And then we solve the pain points for them. Yeah, so basically focus on our customer. That's it. That's a key point.
Okay. Adrian, do you want to add something?
I think it's been well covered by the other two panelists. So
all right. So since everything has been covered now, I really thank you for all of you who show up today. It's been a very helpful session. Huan Yang from GudangAda, Adrian from Investree, and Budi from Shipper. For all of you who are watching this, please, just say hello and take a note and try, be brave and try to get more options out there and try the solutions being presented by the panelists. And don't forget to fill out your polls. We have a polls here. So if you are a business owner or sellers, you can mention what are your problems now and, try to connect with us. And we will see you on another session, hopefully soon. Yes. And thank you all for today. Thank you for today. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Frans.